There's a lot of tragedy in the media these days, and I get it. Things are tough. Tragedy also sells. See, it's not sexy to tell somebody that the American dream is alive and well if you're just willing to step out and work for it. That would be lame. Only a loser would say that. And I'm just the guy to do it. Stay tuned. I'm here in Torrance, California, where Jorge and Gracie took his once humble garage dojo and transformed it into this world-class Jiu-Jitsu academy. An all-too common story here in the US of A. Upstarts start small, and then they grow big here in the land of opportunity. But it's a story that you don't hear that often in today's media.
That's Henner Gracie. You could call him the ambassador of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Originally, my grandfather, Grandmaster L.U. Gracie, learned the Japanese style of jiu-jitsu from his older brother, Carlos. The challenge was my grandfather was so physically frail and so weak compared to his brothers that he couldn't utilize the Japanese techniques with any great effectiveness. So he spent several years modifying the techniques to accommodate his frail physique, and those modifications, incorporating more leverage, better timing, patience, those modifications are what gave birth to what we now know as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He became so confident in his modified version of the art that he began conducting challenge matches in Brazil, where he would literally find all the toughest martial artists he could find and challenge them to no rules fights to prove that even as small as he was, his techniques would allow him to prevail against a much larger, stronger opponent. He was very successful. So my father and his brothers, my uncles, were essentially born doing this stuff as early as they can remember, grew up learning Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and once my father earned his black belt, he realized that our system of self-defense was far too effective to be confined only to Brazil. And he had this dream of making it available to the rest of the world. But he realized in order to make that happen, he had to come to the land of opportunity.
And so Jorge packed his bags for the good old US of A, where he brought not only his devastating fighting techniques, but a killer stash to boot.
Like all upstarts, things began small. Jorge ran his humble academy out of his garage, at first offering free trial classes for first-timers, along with additional free classes for getting others to join. Word of mouth traveled fast, but even faster when people saw the Gracies actually fight. Unlike traditional martial artists who lived in the world of metaphysical theory, Jorge and his brothers put their money where their beautifully stashed mouths were as they continued the tradition of the Gracie Challenge. The Gracies were unstoppable, which gave Jorge an idea. It gave Jorge a wonderful, awful idea.
The Gracie Challenge matches and the garage fights were very effective on a local level, but my father realized that in order to showcase the effectiveness of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to the world, it had to be put on television. So that's what inspired him to create the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He chose his younger brother, Royce, to represent our family's fighting system. Royce went in there, defeated those giants, winning 3 out of the first 4 UFCs, and the rest was history.
The UFC was a huge success. The whole world wanted to learn Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and that's what allowed the Gracies to expand their empire to everything that you see here.
Seriously, Crowder? I told you no filming in the locker room, bro. What's wrong with you?
I'm just...
Yo, what are you doing? Get out of here, bro.
No, please! Not only that, but Gracie combatives became the official combat system of the United States Army. Along with that, the Gracies now run their own online school at GracieUniversity.com. They became successful not through government grants or subsidies, no tax breaks or incentives. The Gracies became successful by innovating martial arts like the world had never seen, and they provided a vastly superior product to what was being sold in traditional martial arts schools across the United States.
Not only that, but the Gracies now help people live long, fruitful lives, just like the Gracie family, through their Gracie Diet, which you can learn about at GracieDiet.com. See, it wasn't Wall Street or politicians who called the shots, but every kid who'd been bullied, woman who'd been victimized, or self-respecting men who made Gracie Jiu-Jitsu a wild success. If that's not free enterprise, I don't know what is.
The traditional martial arts that were being practiced in America when my father arrived here were very popular, thanks to guys like Bruce Lee and others. But the challenge was that although the arts looked very pretty on camera and they were fun to practice, they didn't effectively prepare the student for all the eventualities of a real street fight.
So just to show you what a great product and service Gracie Jiu-Jitsu provides, Henner has offered to showcase some of his techniques using me as a human dummy. I've dressed appropriately, and I am ready to roll.
This is not appropriate. This is never appropriate, what you're wearing. Unless you're auditioning for Rocky 3. Okay, now we're talking. Now you're ready to roll. Lay down, please. Feet this way, head that way. Of course, the fight starts standing up. Punches are thrown. Things get out of hand. Usually the people grab onto each other. And unless someone gets knocked out while they're standing, the fight goes to the ground. And we would love to end up on top, except for one thing. If the bad guy's bigger, heavier, and stronger, they're going to end up on top of you. Worst case scenario. How would you get out if your life depended on it?
Rape! Rape! Stranger! Kidnap! You're not talking to me! He's a stranger!
Okay, listen. Not that it's not good, but that yelling may or may not work. We need to actually get this person off of you without relying on someone else to save your life. If you had to get out, and only you could get you out, how would you get out? Go ahead. Okay, never mind. Listen, that could make the situation worse. If you tickle him, he's going to sit up and punch you in the face, and then you have a more serious problem.
Well, I had you right where I want you, but...
Sure. Listen, here's the deal. When the person is holding you down, pinning you, grabbing you, they could be punching, they could have you in a headlock, they could choke you, and eventually we teach all of those variations. The simplest and most common one is if they're grabbing or pinning you by the throat. So what you're going to do in this situation is this hand come under, grab my wrist with what we call a monkey grip, which is no thumb. This hand grabs the back of my elbow on the same arm, and your foot traps my foot. By trapping my arm and leg on the same side, I have no base points over here when I need them. I can't post my hand out. Now, very slowly, bridging off both feet, thrust your hips up and roll me in that direction, and go all the way on top. Boom! And now you're out of here.
Get out and
Yeah.
Rape! And so there you have it, okay? Thanks to a family with an idea and a family that was willing to work hard, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is now part of the American dream. And you can apply Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to your American dream. Same principles. Patience. You must be patient to wait for your opportunity, okay? Timing. You must seize that opportunity. When you see it, use the proper timing to get into technique where you leverage it properly. That's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm keeping it real.
Dude, are you mocking me?
No, I won't.
It sounded like you were doing an impression of Henry Gracie in his own academy. What's up with that?
No! Ow! Oh, not the hair! You're supposed to be a friendly Gracie!